Jim Nicholson has lived a life that symbolizes everything good about the American dream.
He loves America, he loves the free enterprise system, he loves the fact that we have a society that people volunteer and contribute to help other people. It's who he is.
It reminds me that in this country, unbelievable things are possible for those who work hard, who understand the economic principles that makes our country great, and clearly Jim did and does.
Jim grew up third of 7 kids on a farmhouse outside of Struble, Iowa.
The handicap that we had growing up was the uncertainty in our life because of my father's disease, the terrible disease of alcoholism. It kept us constantly poor and constantly off balance. Often food and clothing were issues.
Jim's mother was one of the most influential people in his life. As a young man, she encouraged him to work hard, to study hard, and to pray hard. And boy, did he do all 3. Jim's brother was admitted to West Point, but the family couldn't afford the train fare to get him back to school. So Jim worked hard all summer to raise the money to get his brother back to school.
He grew up same vintage I did. People understood the economic system because we were in it. We had to work when we were young kids. We had to pay for certain things ourselves. We had financial responsibility.
Jim attended the United States Military Academy at West Point, graduating, then going on to serve as an Army Ranger in Vietnam. Coming home, he chose to move to Colorado and join the Army Reserve. And in that service, he rose to the rank of colonel and retired as a full colonel in the United States Army. But during that period of time when he served in the Army Reserve, in spite of the fact that he had other challenges, not the least of which was to provide for a growing family, he managed to distinguish himself in almost every way he could and demonstrated what kind of a leader Jim really is.
You started out with the home builders as a general counsel. You then started getting into the business. 1976, you started your own company and recognized by the home builders of metropolitan Denver as its president. And there was a voice, a singular voice, I believe, in that debate, which was yours, that talked about we want responsible, well thought out, visionary growth. You put that to use when you started that community in Parker.
He made a difference in Colorado and the campaigns he worked on. He was a great fundraiser in an area where a lot of people simply didn't like to work. And then took on the leadership of the Republican Party on the national level. He came on at a time that was difficult, to say the least. People's dollars were down. They'd had losses, and he brought, along with his hard work and his energy, an optimism that helped change the climate in Washington, D.C.
I love working with Jim Nicholson on the Daniels Fund board. It's no surprise that Bill Daniels named Jim as one of the original trustees. They're so similar in so many ways. When he was chair of the board of Volunteers of America, he and Suzanne both delivered food as part of the Meals on Wheels program. So they got very involved.
I couldn't have imagined a more perfect union than to have Jim Nicholson with his description of purpose, meaning in life, trust and belief in God and family, love for his Catholic faith, love for the American dream, than to have a person like that be the ambassador to the Vatican. Jim was blessed to be with the Holy Father 2 days after the terrorist attack of September 11th, at which time he presented his diplomatic credentials to the Holy Father, representing the United States of America as its ambassador. The whole theory of the just war, our responsibility as a nation who had been attacked, became the focus of what Jim's representation was to the Holy See. He spoke out for human rights, probably in no area more significantly than he did in the area of human trafficking or modern-day slavery. To this day is recognized maybe as the individual that has defined that role to a new level.
When he was the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, spent a great deal of time with the veterans, focused on how well they were being taken care of, and quizzed them as to how they felt about their care. The department is 270,000 employees taking care of about 6 million veterans and providing their health care in 156 facilities across the country. And he made sure that he visited as many of them as possible and used that unique human trait he has of caring so much to set a tone that others were quick to emulate.
Jim has extraordinary skills as an executive and legal advisor. He's now a senior counsel with Brownstein, Hyatt, Farber and Schreck. When you're dealing with issues of health care, veterans issues, regulatory law, or real estate, there's no more knowledgeable advocate than Jim.
Jim Nicholson epitomizes what the Adam Smith Award stands for. His ability to blend his professional experience, his personal life, his commitment to community service, his commitment to America, and his love of free enterprise. It's seamless. It is just who Jim Nicholson is.
The biggest difference, I think, is not the money he raised or the success he had, but the example he set for other people. The example of integrity and what an honest life dedicated to helping others can mean in the way of changing the world.
Congratulations, Jim.